The weather seems great today with the sunlight shining across a lot of areas. It makes for some good flight. And with that in mind, what did I read today? In terms of flight, as you know, DJI recently announced that they're getting rid of their Geofence in the US, which they have already done. And it seems like for some, media outlets, they're saying this is going to be a disaster, which is kind of interesting just based on the stuff that they wrote. This one here says, latest Chinese drone update could cause chaos across the US. As it says here, Chinese drone makers DJI announced a software update this week for operators in the US. They are taking the guardrails off of all their drones. From January 13th, the geofencing function, which prevented the drones from flying in restricted areas, such as airports and military bases, will no longer operate. Instead, when flying in a restricted area, the drone will simply issue a warning message saying, quote, placing control back in the hands of the drone operators, as the company puts it. This move comes at a time when Chinese drone makers in general and DJI in particular are under government scrutiny. The Commerce Department is considering a complete ban on Chinese drones in the US on national security grounds. There are many possible explanations for DJI's latest move. One interpretation that the company, which controls around 70% of the global consumer drone market, is showing what it can do at the flick of a switch. That's kind of an interesting perspective if they're claiming that's the reason why they decided to do this anyways, and whether or not it should bring fear amongst people, showing how much control they have to determine, where people can and can't fly. And this is a point I've constantly heard being used over and over again in terms of the dangers of drones and so forth. Like it says, it has been obvious since the days of hobbyists flying radio-controlled aircraft that drones present a potential threat to larger aircraft. Bird strikes are dangerous and have resulted in many crashes. For example, the miracle on the Hudson in 2009 when an Airbus 320 ran into a skein of Canada geese and was forced to ditch in the Hudson River. Drone strikes are far worse. Birds are comparatively soft, light organic material. Drones, though no heavier, contain much harder, denser materials such as batteries, which will do far more damage to windows or jet turbines. Studies have shown they present a far greater hazard, leading to the description of drones as, quote, mechanical geese from hell. That's kind of funny with that slip-in phrase there. Drones, though no heavier. What are people using on average in terms of a drone when you think about it? For example, let's just say in recent times, people were alleging a micro drone, a DJI Mini, for example, style drone, under 250 grams caused such damage to an aircraft, for example, which makes you wonder if it's true. But in this case, what do you think is worse? A geese, or let's just say a mini drone in general? Common sense to me would say it's the geese with how big it is. You can tell me all you want about how this little drone has, let's just say, electronic parts and all that, but I think just based on common sense, there's no way you can tell me that is more dangerous than a geese, for example, especially a flock of them everywhere. And here's the thing too, in my opinion, anybody that mentions this, Gatwick for example, as a reason to say, okay, they're dangerous, ban them all, I think you kind of lose credibility. Wouldn't you agree in this sense? It says airport operations have been suspended on many occasions because drones have been sighted flying nearby, such as the occasion when flights at London's Gatwick were disrupted for 36 hours during the busy holiday season in 2018. I don't get why are people saying that as if it's a fact in terms of they found a drone, because to my knowledge anyways, they didn't find anything. They ended up spending hundreds of thousands of dollars. They arrested innocent people trying to find a quote drone, and someone was flying a drone apparently. And for those who don't know, this incident happened at about 2018 during the Christmas season, where again, they alleged they saw a drone and they delayed all these flights, and they just blamed it on drones in general with no actual concrete proof. And some general pointers of what ultimately ended up happening. For the most part, there was no verified footage or photographs of the alleged drones were ever produced. The UK Air Prox Board confirmed that no Air Prox incidents related to drones were recorded at Gatwick during the period in question. Freedom of Information requests revealed that neither the National Police Air Service helicopters nor the Royal Air Force's Falcon Shield drone detection system observed any drones during their surveillance operations. The investigation, which lasted 18 months, involved 5 different police forces and cost over $800,000 failed to identify any culprits or provide definite proof of a drone presence. Experts have pointed out inconsistencies in the report, such as the extended duration of the alleged drone activity, which would have required multiple battery changes. Recent tribunal rulings have ordered Sussex police to release more information about the incident, suggesting a lack of transparency in the initial investigation. And as of this year, 2025, the drone industry associations like the ARPAS UK are calling for new narratives surrounding the Gatwick 2018 incident, citing the lack of credible evidence for the malicious drone activity. Which goes back to this article, because the unfortunate thing is I would assume this is kind of like a mainstream media source where the mass majority of people get their information. How can somebody spread these types of information as if they're facts? This is why so many people, in my opinion, are terrified of drones in general. If you think about it too, this actually makes no sense for this person's argument and I guess the narrative in general, because if you're saying they need to keep these geofence types of restrictions to stop people from flying in airports because you allege it's 100% real there was a drone in Gatwick, if you think about it, this geofence system was in place during this time. So with that argument, aren't you saying this should have stopped the drone from going there in general, which it didn't, according, I guess, to this person? If you say that is a fact, there was a drone there, so obviously that didn't work, correct? So which one is it? Was there a drone? Does this thing actually work in terms of the geofence? I mean, some basic critical thinking there. It does make me wonder actually, because it seems like there is some kind of, I guess you could say, a narrative being pushed out right now in terms of like the dangers, I guess, of these types of drones. My personal opinion is that geofence from day one, it doesn't even match local laws for the most part here. Otherwise, you're going to start arguing people need to be quote, geofenced in terms of like what, their bicycles, their cars, or whatever you want to say. I mean, you need some consistency in life. It's only when people start realizing, oh wait, you want to do that to me in your life? No way. Like, for other people, go ahead, don't be a hypocrite. And this was kind of interesting, as I know in the US there's going to be a change in leadership of sort, but how about this, where it says US reveals one secret support for Ukraine's drone industry. So were they secretly funding, I guess, some kind of drone program per se? It says the Biden administration declassified one last piece of information about how it has helped Ukraine, an account of its one secret support for the country's military drone industry. US officials said on Thursday that they had made big investments that helped Ukraine start and expand its production of drones as it battled Russia's largest and better equipped army. Much of the US assistance to the Ukrainian military, including billions of dollars in missiles, air defense systems, tanks, artillery, and training, has been announced to the public. The innovations in Ukraine's drone industry have been hailed as transformative, but the US support has been less well understood. In addition to technical support, the US has spent significant money, including $1.5 billion sent last September, to boost Ukraine's drone production, officials said. It makes me think too, because with all that talk here anyways about Canada becoming part of the US, like the 51st state, with how much they're investing in Ukraine and so forth with this drone tech and all that, you should be saying they should become the new, I guess, state of sort in many ways, huh? See you guys later.